Hello folks, and I hope you're all doing good. So in this video, we will be discussing about conditional statements in Rust, basically if-else statements. And if you're following the Rust book, this will be the fifth section of the third chapter. And here you can read about if-else statements, unless you know it already. And if you are following my blogs, this is one blog on conditional statements in Rust, and this is precisely what we will be doing today. So let's go back to our VS Code and let's write some if-else statements. So first of all, let's try to understand why do we need if-else statements. So we need if-else statements when we want to do some operation, you can say, based on some condition. So let's say we have one x, which is of the type I32, something that we learned in the last video, equals to 5. And let's say I have one println of x, and we can print x by writing something like this. Now if I do cargo run, you know that we will be printing out 5. Now let's say we want to print out x only when the value of x is greater than 10. So how can I write that? In those cases, we need to write one if statement. If x is greater than 10, only in those cases, please print x, otherwise do nothing. Now if I do cargo run once again, our project will be building but we have no output, and that is because the value of x is less than 10. So we can also write one else statement to address the remaining scenarios, and let me simply print out something that x is too small. And now if I do one cargo run, you guessed right, we are getting x is too small. Now let's say if x is greater than 20, we want to print out that x is too big. In between 10 and 20, we will print out x, and otherwise x is too small. And let me write value of x equals to whatever. So now that we have three statements, we also have to write one else if. So I will write if x is greater than 20, you will print out basically x is too big. So I will simply copy paste because I am a bit lazy. So x is too big, and then we will have else if. And what will be the else if condition? The else if condition will be x is greater than 10 and also x is less than 20. So we will use the AND logical operator. So x is greater than 10 and x is less than 20. In that case, the value of x is basically whatever we have. And now if we do a run, cargo run, we will get x is too small because we have 5. Let's make it 15. And now we will get value of x is equals to 15. And if it's 25, we will get as you expected correctly, we will be getting x is too big. So very simple stuff. This is how we write conditional statements in Rust. And a few things to note here also. And that is in JavaScript, we can write something like this. So let's say we have another variable y of the type, let's say u64. And let's say the value of y is 10. So in JavaScript, what we can write is if y, and then we can write, let's say, println and y exists. So this is called a truthy value, and that is by virtue that y exists, it will have a true value. Like it will decipher the value to be true. This does not exist in Rust. So if we now try to run it, we will get an error. So what they're saying is expected bool found u64. So if statements in Rust will only be taking one Boolean value. It will not be deciphering any value unlike the JavaScript if statements. Too lazy. So what we can simply do over here is we can write if y is greater than equal to 0. I mean, that's how we have unsigned integers. It's 0 or more than that. I mean, we discussed it, right? And now there will be no issues. So if I do a cargo run now, you will see we have y exists. So this is how basically we can take care of situations like this if you are a JavaScript developer. So it's a very simple stuff. So I'm sure we will not be having any issues from now on. Okay. Now the next thing that we will be discussing is how we can store one if-else statement inside a variable, something that we also call a let if statement. So let's say we have a z, and here we want to store one if-else statement. So if I will write one condition, let's keep the condition as 10 is greater than 5. We know that this is true. And if this is the case, I mean, if the condition is true, in this case it is, so in that case, I want to store some value in z. Let's say the value is 5. But otherwise, in case the condition is false, I want to store the value of 10. Now, this whole thing is actually being stored inside z. So basically, z will be one variable, and so it need to be ended with one semicolon, unlike the regular if else statements. Now, if I print out the value of z, you will see something interesting. I mean, not that interesting also. I mean, something very expected, but quite interesting. And that is we have 5, and that is because 10 is greater than 5. If I, let's say, reverse it, if 10 is less than 5, which is false, we will be getting 10. Let me write z equals to give more clarity. So you can see that how, based on this condition, we are storing different values in z. Let's now make the condition a little bit more complex. So I will be creating another variable a. Let's give the value of a as 10. So now let me write if a is greater than let's say 15, you will store okay, it's 25, so fine, you will store 25. Else if it's let's say if a is let's say less than 25 and greater than 5, you will store take out the average, that is 15. And else you will store let's give it 5. Now we know that a is 10, so ideally it should be z should be 15. And now if I do a cargo run, you can see that z equals to 15. If I make a as 30, we will be getting z equals to 25. And otherwise, let's say let's make a equals to 0, we will be getting 5. So this is how we can store more complex stuff in Z also, like only a single value based on multiple conditions. So that's all you need to know about conditional statements in Rust for now. So make sure to destroy that subscribe button, and I will see you next time with another Rusty video.